Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, just replaying conversations or stressing about what might happen tomorrow? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Worry is a universal human thing. But what if I told you there was a practical, time-tested toolkit to fight back? Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down today. Dale Carnegie's timeless advice on how to finally conquer worry for good. Okay, let's just start with the stakes, right? This quote from Dr. Alexis Carrel, man, it's a real gut punch. But here's the thing, it's not an exaggeration. Carnegie puts this right at the beginning of his book for a reason, to make it crystal clear that unchecked worry isn't just a bad mood, it's a genuinely destructive force with very, very real consequences. So what is it that's keeping us all up at night? Well, according to Carnegie's research, a whopping 70% of our worries boil down to one single thing: money. Yep. It's a massive common stressor that for so many of us creates this constant low-level hum of anxiety in our lives. And the physical toll is just staggering. And listen, this isn't some new age wellness idea. Way back in the late 1800s, the famous Mayo brothers, yeah, those Mayo brothers, estimated that more than half of their hospital beds were filled by people whose problems started with emotional distress. Worry literally makes us sick. And it's not just our bodies that take the hit. Worry wages a full-on war against our minds. As Carnegie points out, it just shatters our focus. I mean, think about it, right? When you're truly worried, can you think clearly? Can you solve problems effectively? No way. It's this awful, vicious cycle. The worry itself stops you from taking the very action that could solve the problem in the first place. So how in the world do we fight back? This is where Carnegie's classic guide is such a game changer. It is not about empty feel-good platitudes. It's a collection of concrete, actionable strategies that have helped millions of people regain control of their lives. So let's open up that toolkit. All right, the first front in this battle is our own mind. Before we can ever hope to change what we do, we have to change how we think. This is all about building a brand new foundational mindset. Now, this is arguably Carnegie's most powerful idea. He uses his brilliant analogy of an ocean liner. So a ship can survive a hole in its hull because these huge steel doors slam shut, sealing off the one damaged section so the whole ship doesn't sink. He says we have to do this same thing with our days. Shut an iron door on yesterday's mistakes. Shut another on tomorrow's fears. Your only job is to live fully within the 24 hours of today. The philosopher Thomas Carlyle really captured the whole idea of day-tight compartments perfectly. See, the best way to prepare for tomorrow isn't to worry about it. It's to do today's work with absolute focus and all the enthusiasm you can muster. The only question that should matter to you right now is what lies clearly at hand. And hey, this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. Just look at the story of Edward S. Evans. This guy had lost everything. He was stressed into a total physical breakdown, and his doctor told him he had 2 weeks to live. And his response? He just stopped struggling. He accepted it. He decided to just enjoy whatever time he had left, one single day at a time. And miraculously, his health came back, and he became a hugely successful businessman. That is the power of just living for today. Okay, but what about those nagging worries you just can't shut out? For those, Carnegie gives us what he calls a magic formula, and it all starts by asking this one simple yet kind of terrifying question. Instead of running from your fear, you turn around and you face it head on. Here's the 3-step process. First, you analyze the absolute worst possible outcome. Just let your mind go there. Second, and this is the absolute key, you bring yourself to mentally accept it. Once you've accepted the worst, you've got nothing left to lose, and all that nervous energy just vanishes. Then, from that place of calm, you can finally put all your effort into step 3, improving on that worst-case scenario. It's a simple formula that can diffuse almost any worry. So, now that we've started to shift our mindset, the next step is to change our actions. You see, worry is a habit, and just like any other habit, it can be broken and it can be replaced with a much better one. Here's a quick hitter toolkit for you. First, get busy. An occupied mind literally has no room for worry. As George Bernard Shaw once said, the secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to think about whether you are happy or not. Next, don't let the little things get you down. Life is way too short for that. Also, use the law of averages. Ask yourself, what are the actual odds of this disaster happening? It's probably tiny. Cooperate with what you can't change. And finally, stop trying to saw sawdust. You can't change the past, so learn from it and then let it go. And to really hammer home that point about not sweating the small stuff, Carnegie tells this incredible story of a soldier who was trapped in a submarine during a 15-hour depth charge attack. Facing what seemed like certain death, he thought about all the trivial things he'd worried about before: a nagging boss, some argument with his wife, and in that moment, he saw how utterly absurd they all were. The lesson here: you shouldn't have to wait for a life or death crisis to gain that kind of perspective. This is one of my absolute favorite concepts from the book. In the stock market, a stop-loss order automatically sells a stock if it drops to a certain price. It's designed to prevent a catastrophic loss. Well, we need to do the same exact thing for our worries. We have to decide how much peace of mind we're willing to pay for a problem, and the moment it hits that limit, you cut your losses and you move on. So how do you actually do it? Well, you ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, how much does this really matter to me in the grand scheme of things? Second, at what point am I just going to decide to put this behind me and forget about it? And third, have I already paid more for this worry than it's worth? This simple check-in can stop a worry from spiraling out of control. Okay, we've covered mindset and we've covered habits. Now let's bring it all together into one final powerful challenge that you can start using the second this explainer ends. This idea from the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius is really the foundation of everything we've talked about. The world outside is what it is, right? But our inner world, our peace, our happiness, our resilience, that is built entirely by the quality of our thoughts. You are the architect of your own experience. And so we end right where we began, with the power of today. Look, don't try to solve your whole life's problems all at once. Just for today, can you try to live in a day-tight compartment? Just for today, can you apply that 3-step formula to just one nagging worry? The path to a worry-free life isn't some giant leap. It's a single step taken today. So, what's your one step?